Hi, and welcome to Friday's Fun Fact. So, I'll get to the fun fact at the end of the teaching, but for today, we're going to continue on talking about the tongue. So, I am going to read Matthew 15, 18, and 19. So, it says, "But the words you speak come from the heart. That's what defiles you. For from the heart come evil thoughts, murder, adultery, all sexual immorality, theft, lying, and slander." So, wow, that's pretty powerful. The things that come from our heart and the things that come out of our tongue. So, the heart actually is the source of our evil action. So, the things that we do that are bad and evil come from our heart. Heart in this verse from the original Greek is our mind, where our thoughts and our emotions come from. So, if we speak what comes from our heart, how in the world are we supposed to control our tongue? So in Second Corinthians, I'm going to read this real quick. Second Corinthians 10:5, it says, "We destroy every proud obstacle that keeps people from knowing God. We capture the rebellious thoughts and teach them to obey Christ." So we're capturing those rebellious thoughts. There's just so much packed into this verse. I'm going to talk about it more in the future in a future teaching, but for today, I want to show the what this verse is talking about, just briefly, on the power that our heart has over our mind, our thoughts. They can be very rebellious, and God does not necessarily, He does not want our thoughts just to wander aimlessly. Um, when I think too much on something negative, it not only affects what I'm going to say and put a negative spin on the things that come out of my mouth, it also affects how I feel. I can all of a sudden feel depressed or down or negative. So, but if I'm feeling or if I'm focusing on something positive, that is going to help me act and speak more positive, and it's also going to make me happy. So, what I have found works for me is when my mind goes where it shouldn't, because it does that. This is something God's really dealt with me. Um, he obviously he's dealing with me on my tongue, but also in my thought life, and this is just something I've been studying a lot lately. What works for me is I need to redirect my thoughts when my mind starts going in a direction I know it's not supposed to go, whether it's focusing on something bad that's happened, or even if it's not necessarily bad, but it's not, if something happened that I don't necessarily like, and I focus on that, my mind is going in a negative direction. So I need to redirect it. I need to grab hold of that thought, making it submissive to Christ. So how do I do that? Personally, I love picking up my Bible and I start studying the Word and reading. I pray. I listen to praise and worship music. That's probably the biggest thing for me, is putting on some praise and worship music. It's really hard for me to stay negative when I have praise and worship music on. It changes my thinking, it changes my mood. And like I said, what is in our minds gets into our hearts. I mean, what we're dwelling on affects how we're feeling. So if I'm so busy focusing on praise and worship, what's that going to do for my emotions? It's going to change everything. And when my emotions are changing, it's going to affect how I talk. And I'm going to speak more positive. I'm going to be uplifting people rather than saying something that might hurt them. And the desire of my heart is I don't ever want to hurt anybody with my words or my actions. I want to be uplifting and to lift people up and encourage them and love on them. So I'm really focusing on making sure that my mind is in a place that it needs to be. So focusing on those positive things. So when I'm doing that, I'm actually happy. So, and it has a tremendous impact on me. So I can't wait to unpack this verse further. Maybe we'll do this next week. I'm gonna study it a little more and try to get some more information out of it. Now, I might do a series next week on this verse. So, but with that, I'm gonna move on to the fun fact for today. This is pretty cool. So There are 133 verses in the Bible that talk about the tongue. That's not including all of the verses that talk about our words or the things we say. That's just talking about the tongue. So that is pretty powerful. On if the Bible's talking about that so much, it must mean it's super important that we're watching what we say. So with that, I'm going to leave you guys today. I'll be back tomorrow with a weekend word, and you have an amazing, wonderful day. Bye.